Quick thing, I wanted to talk about how I left New York about 2 years ago, and then I went to Cape Cod, where I grew up. And I didn't want to be on Cape, but it was correct. I was with the family, and that was great. One of the reasons I went to Cape Cod was because of family, and that was a new priority that I thought was more important in my life, and I still think it is. And instead of my career based life and living in New York, where everything was about what I can accomplish, what I can be successful with, and I make financial gains, then COVID happened and all this political stuff happened. I, I saw I saw an end of New York, and I still feel like I'm right. I'm just reading an article just recently on how the crime is significantly getting worse and worse, and I just think that place is becoming more and more of a dump, and it's not going to be very good in the long run. I think it's going to get really, really bad. But what I wanted to say was that I think that my decision to leave and consider where I was living, what I was doing, was one of the best things I've ever done aside from actually moving to New York. It was the same mindset of being like, what do I want out of life and where can I get that? And for me right now, family and relationships and working on my own business or my own value, my own self-worth, and I guess you could say purpose. Although it's very difficult to figure out your purpose, being persistent to figuring that out is what I've been working on for a couple years now since I left New York. And I gotta say, like, even if I don't know it, working towards my purpose, I guess you could say, is absolutely game changing and like I feel like I'm actually getting closer and closer to why I'm here and why I exist and make everything have a reason. And I want to encourage you to think about one of the first steps to finding your purpose is to go where there's things that support the highest priorities in your life. So for me, family, peace, open air, and like open scenery, everything is great. Like, I mean, right now, like this is my yard. Like, let me see. Like that's right outside my house, you know? Not for long, but I actually have to move, unfortunately. But yeah, so I think that it's really important to consider what do you want? What are your, and it's not what you want, it's what are your priorities? Because that's really, I think that makes it a lot easier to get closer to what you're supposed to be doing in life. Because, so for example, me, I don't want stress. I want peaceful living. I don't want to work every day. I want to work as little as possible. I want to make more money per time that I'm working. I don't want to work for other people in the future, if ever again, or very rarely, and be around family and friends and love and everything like that, relationships. So New York doesn't serve that. Neither does Boston or anything like that. Any of these cities or highly congested area where the population is high. I really feel like the world is so much better when you get out of the highly populated areas. Now, if you're young, I don't think that really would probably line up with your priorities because you're thinking way more into relationship and success and career, which is extremely valid. But for me, my point is finding your purpose starts with your location, and that location supports your priorities. And if you can just get in the right area, you're so much better off. So like that guy, Alex Hermosi, awesome guy. He talks about in his book, he's like one of the best business decisions for a hot dog stand is a hungry crowd, right? So I mean, you can have the best hot dogs in the world. I'm totally butchering this. You can have the best hot dogs in the world, but if you're parked in a weird parking lot where nobody is there, then you're not going to sell. It doesn't matter how good it is. You got to be in the right location. And you have to have that crowd to know that you exist. So, yeah, I totally don't know where I was going with that, except for the location is really key. And maybe it's time for you to move. Maybe it's time for me to consider, maybe there's a little tweak that I can do. I actually don't think so right now. I think I'm pretty solid. But perhaps I can find a way to double my income so that I can have two locations, because that's kind of what I would like. I'd like a traveling location and a home base. But that does require me to double my income, which I am trying to figure out how to do that. And if I do figure it out, I will let you know, of course. All right, that's it. Cheers.